Good morning, or Lily's supposed to be. It's 6:42 or whatever. We did sleep in a little bit. It's still dark out, and sometimes I just don't see where the point is getting up if it's dark out. Much better about it in the summertime when it is actually light out. So first things first, we got to start a fire. Hello, so it's a couple days later and I'm just popping in here to say that day that we filmed our day in the life was actually kind of a little like low-key for us. We spent a lot of day doing some research online, and that just goes to show that every day on a homestead is different. I actually made the comment this morning that, man, we should have made our video today because today's more exciting. It is snowing, which we're very excited about, so Nathan is plowing and I'll probably shovel some later today. We're also canning beans today, and then I'm hoping to be able to make a batch or two of soap later today. So today's like a lot more exciting, but oh well, that's the homestead life. Enjoy the rest of the video. It is 56 degrees in here, 31 outside. I'd say that's a little chilly. The next thing is the very most important thing out of the entire day. Getting coffee together. Even though this only has water in it at this point, I still like to go ahead and put it on the stove so I can get a head start warming up while I get the inner parts together. We're now gonna go let out the chickens. Normally Nathan does this all along because I'm too short to reach the latch, but I'm filming today. I see a chicken butt, I think.
You see a chicken butt?
Maybe one lady laying. Yeah, it's too dark.
Right.
You let him out?
Yep.
Woo. Be free, chickens.
They'll pop out and run when they see fit. Sometimes they run out and sometimes they're like, nah bro, it's warm in here. I think it's a nah bro, it's warm in here.
Yep. So we can't have breakfast like as early as we normally would this morning because we've kind of been eating through all of our eggs. So we gotta wait to get some eggs from those ladies. They gotta get laying so we can have some breakfast. Part of living on a homestead is there's no set schedule. So this isn't going to be like a typical day for the Danas. This is gonna be just Danas are on winter break and we see projects that need to get done. For example, while we were out here setting the chickens free, Nathan noticed our solar panel is covered. That's not great. So he decided, well, now's the time to fix that.
This will get half of it. This will get us some power when the sun comes up. It'll also attract a little bit of heat. Hopefully melt the rest pretty quick.
Do you get snow on you when you do this?
Sometimes.
Ta-da! While we were cleaning off the solar panels, all the chickens decided to come in. I know you can't see them that well, but you can at least see some coffee. Good morning to you too. So while I'm waiting for coffee to perk and while I'm waiting for the motivation to go maybe work out, I made a TikTok. Oh, and I just let my phone go. There we go. And it's almost done.
So it's been warm recently, so we put the summer.
This is the most beautiful sight and sound in the whole world. Now we set a timer for 10 minutes and then we get to have coffee. The time has come. The timer has gone off. It's coffee time. So unfortunately, the first step after the coffee's done perking is we put it on the back up there so it can cool off because it was just boiling and that's a little too warm for us to drink coffee. Beautiful.
So we're gonna go ahead and make some breakfast, and this morning we're gonna have home fries and eggs from our chickens. First thing we're gonna make is we're going to make our home fries. I have 4 potatoes here. Typically I do 2 large potatoes per person, but these ones are a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna do 2 potatoes per person and have a little bit more home fries. First thing we're gonna do is we're going to skin them. We're gonna cut them out, wash them, put them in a frying pan and fry them up. Now the reason we're going to skin them is these aren't our potatoes, these are store-bought potatoes, and we typically, for anything for root vegetables that aren't ours, we skin them because we don't want to have vegetables where the skin or parts that we're eating came into contact with poopy soil, because manure is very well used in popular agriculture and I don't like to eat poop. Then when we're done with that, we'll go ahead and fry up our eggs and it'll be breakfast. There's our potatoes all skinned and the skin's put into the compost. The goal here is to try and get breakfast done by the time that Sig is done doing her workout. I'm gonna go ahead and chop these up and wash them. So we wash the potatoes to get all the starches off, because the starches prevent them from crisping up on the outside. If they don't crisp up on the outside as fast, then they don't end up being home fries, they end up being fried mashed potatoes. You want to wash them really, really well until the water comes off clear. There's no more obvious starches in the water. You grab something for a towel and you'll dry them off, because the water will also prevent them from cooking up nicely the way you want. Trying to spread around the wet spot on the towel to get as much of the water out of potatoes as possible. Potatoes back in there. Put this in the washer and salt and pepper to taste. I don't really measure the salt and pepper, I just look after I toss it to make sure there's salt and pepper on all the pieces. I do want a little bit more pepper than that though, since I missed the bowl. There we go. And we'll throw that in the pan. Grab the cast iron, put on low medium, and put some oil in there. Swirl the coat. And go ahead and dump those potatoes in there. Make sure you get all the bits out. We'll grab some garlic next. Alright, this garlic will hang out until 4 of those potatoes are done. Toss them in the pan, just so they have enough time to get aromatic before they're done. And now we wait.
Nice and strong, as fast as you can. Standing tall, okay?
And we're back to the coop to grab some eggs. Hopefully Nobody's inside. I don't want people to come flying out. Hi. How are you? Hey. I'm gonna go ahead and steal some of your eggs. Hey, 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 hey. No. Don't be pecking them. Yeah, we got 3, so that should be enough for breakfast with what we've got inside.
In goes the garlic. And for those of you that might not have seen my TikTok or Instagram when I bragged about it, but I made this cutting board. So while breakfast is still cooking, I thought I would take a moment to kind of show you the process for how one of us might take a shower, because it's a little different than most houses. And since I just worked out, I'm new to the shower, this timing is perfect. This big black thing on the back of our wood stove is a hot water tank. It holds about 11 gallons. Enters the tank through this pipe. It gets stored in here for quite a while, which is on top of just a little bit of the stove, but it does a wonderful job heating it up. And then when we need to get water out, say if you want a shower, you come over to the other side where there is this spout. So we've got this little bucket we use as a stool for the water bucket. And then we just turn the spout on for as much water as we need. Amount of water that I think I'll need, I test it a little, and that doesn't feel quite as warm as I want it for showering. So I'm now gonna put it up on the stovetop and probably in my way of cooking. Now my bath water is on the stove, and now you know it's fully on the stove. It's not a little on the stove, and it's a lot less water to heat up. So this is a lot faster of a way to get some bath water or even dishes water. The very last and most important thing is to refill this up, because if this goes dry, it's gonna start burning, and that's not great. So we turn this handle on. You'll hear the pump kick on soon, and it fills it up. Or the pump won't ever turn on. There we go. And that's our water pump. Yes, please. Thank you. Look at that breakfast.
Yummy yum.
Heck yeah. So after eating breakfast, I got distracted for quite some time on TikTok. What you gonna do? So now let's see if my bath water is ready to go. Ooh, she's looking a little steamy. Yeah, so I would say that's ready. So in our bathtub, we do not have hot water plumbed, because the only way we get hot water is heating it up on the wood stove or by heating it up on the propane in the summertime, which is not ideal, but we'll figure it out. So we've got a little padded thing so that this doesn't damage the tub, and we tend to heat the water up hotter than we would actually shower with, so we just cool it off a bit with our very cold water. In terms of the actual, like, how do I, I'm not spraying myself with the nozzle, how do I shower? We have this. There's just a little cup, nice little handle. You just scoop up the water and pour it on top of you. Some people think that is totally whack and weird, but I actually grew up doing it so it's totally normal to me. It took Nathan a little bit of adjustment time period, but he's totally used to it now. Yes, it is a bit of a treat when we get to stay somewhere else and actually have like a real shower, but honestly, like, it works. Hello, it is early afternoon-ish. I'm sort of working on some soap. I'm not gonna make like a full video about it because I am just testing some stuff out. I'm trying to make some soap that would be good for conditioner. There's a YouTuber, Ellie's Everyday, I'm not sure her exact name, but she does a lot of soap making stuff, which is really cool. And so I've been making my own calculation based on stuff I'm learning from her. And now I'm just kind of waiting for my lye water concentration to cool down. I've kind of gotten to a point with my soap making that I have to wait for some stuff to cool down to start mixing, and I kind of got a little bored. I was watching some really informative YouTube videos about soap making, so I was learning a lot, but my hands get bored, so I'm now starting a blanket. Okay, I am done sort of making soap. I still gotta like clean up, but yeah. So today's a pretty chill day at the homestead, and one thing that I want to comment on is that a lot of today, both Nathan and I have actually had like YouTube videos going while we're working, because there's a ton of resources out there on YouTube for how to get started at doing all of this stuff. We don't know how to do all this stuff a lot of time, and so we look it up and we do some research. Nathan is doing something with a sawmill video, I think. I just keep hearing building with green wood. I don't know. I'm doing soap. So we just got word that there's a package waiting for us at my parents', so we're gonna go get that. Okay, so we got our package, which I think is the little heater thing for the chickens. We got some presents from one of my grams, but the very best thing, and I say that with full confidence, even though I don't have a clue as to what we got else, is this. It's maple syrup. It is now time for dinner. We didn't film the making of, but we'll just show you what we're having. First, we have our base layer, which is like walnuts and potatoes and a bunch of spices. Then we just have some diced tomatoes. Next, we have some guac.
Oh, that's a lot of guac.
And lastly,
all the cheese.
delicious. And while we're eating dinner, I put water on the stove for dishes. And while we eat dinner, watch Survivor. Okay, so now pretty much all that's left besides relaxing for the day is doing some dishes. So I've got some dishes in the sink, and then I've got some dishes on the counter. I've just got some regular old dish soap, and my favorite part about doing dishes is I don't use any plastic sponges. I've got this handy dandy thing. Actually, I've got a few of them, and they are completely made out of bamboo. So when they're completely worn out, I can just huck this outside and it's totally fine, because it will just decompose or compost, except for the parts that are metal, in which case those can just be recycled. These were only supposed to really last like a year, but they have definitely lasted me maybe like a year and a half, almost two, so I'm pretty pumped about that. We've got this cool dish drying rack that is up above the sink because we live in a small house, we don't have a lot of space, and this saves us a lot of space. It does actually drip down onto and around the sink, so I just have a cloth that as stuff drips, you'll see me kind of like move stuff around. Now, I can't just turn on the tap and get hot water because we don't have hot water from through our house. So I've got this that I just took off of the stovetop. It is very steamy right now. It's not quite boiling, but it's pretty hot. So I'm wearing one of these gloves, and if I stick my hand in, I can feel, whew, that is uncomfortable on my hands. Plug the sink, and now I just do dishes like normal. So I'm gonna get my little scrubber there, damp with water, and put some soap on, and we're doing dishes. Pour hot water over that. And there we go. Now I have lived in apartment buildings, etc., where, you know, you would do dishes with the tap, and the amount of water that you would use for that is a lot. Like, I used to basically fill the whole sink up to do, you know, give it a pre-soak, make sure everything was nicely soaked before scrubbing, and that would use a ton of water. Compared to here, the tub or the sink really does not get that full of water. So this method saves a ton, and it's just as good as getting my dishes clean. Another thing that is not necessarily daily, but it's at least monthly, is Nathan is working on our co-op order so we can get some bulk goods. After I started getting dishes going, I forgot to mention, so like, this isn't my only brush. I think I also showed you, there's this one that doesn't have a handle. It also came with this, where the bristles are a lot more stiff. I don't really like using this one for dishes. I actually use it for like cleaning up fruit vegetables like carrots and potatoes. This is my favorite one by far. It's got like a metal rod inside, but it curls. These are amazing at cleaning out mason jars. So if you can, or really just like any old mug, they work great on. And then for things like silverware, none of those scrubbers really work. Really, the only thing that works is a sponge. I don't want to use a sponge, so I took some cotton and I knitted up some of some little dishcloths. I have a few right hanging on this contraption. This one is my favorite because I had these cute little ribs in it. But yeah, once they deteriorate, like this one is pretty close to being dead. It's got a hole in it. Since they're cotton, I just bring them outside and I hang them up on branches, and birds and rodents can use them in their nests. And it's not like plastic yarn, so it's not adding plastic to the environment. Thanks for hanging out with us today. The kitchen's all cleaned up. We're gonna finish the day by relaxing and watching another episode of Survivor.
If you like what you saw, go ahead and like, subscribe, and smack that bell so you can get notifications when we post sporadically.
Thanks for watching.